Okie dokie, nerds, welcome back to another vintage video. Today we're playing some Dredge, and it's like a combo Dredge style list with Terror of the Peaks and Hogaaks in it. So this sort of list has been doing the rounds a little bit recently. No props, got a 5-0 with something similar, but no Noxious. And then there was some chatter in the Discord on Monday, that would have been 29th September, about this sort of list, different pros and cons. Um, no props registered 0 Noxious, which I don't think you can do, but that gave them access to more blue spells. And then this list was shared in the Discord, and at the time I copied it, it had 3 thugs, 3 shells. I've added another shell, and that's all I've done to it. But yeah, it's quite interesting. So you've got a little bit of permission, you've got the therapies and the bridges, you've got Terror of the Peaks to kill with, and you've got some Hogaaks as well, which are just quick aggressive threats. There's no Poxwalkers because we've got these Force of Wills in here. And then post board, you've got Ley Lines, Sickening Shoals, Force of Vigors, and then Trap Negation Strip to round it out. So it's an interesting list. It's like touching all areas in a little bit of combo, a big Dread Return Fatty, a bit more permission than the usual Dread Return lists. But then we're losing versus like the max permission lists. We're losing all of that blue, and we're losing all of that or the fourth Noxious. So it's an interesting sort of thing. We're going to run it through a league and see how it does, because some people have been impressed with it and posting like results with it at locals and online. And it's a very interesting time for changes to happen to Dredge. So we're going to get into a league and get involved, and then we'll see how we do. I do always enjoy the terror lists. They're a lot of fun. Only 2 Dread returns. Suspicious, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right, I'll see you in there. Okay, game 1. We're up against VWX, and we've got a Bazaar, we've got a blue card, and a Force of Will, a Grief, and a black card, and a hollow one. So we're going to keep this. They're usually on a Lurus control list, um, but they might have mixed things up. Misty Rainforest is interesting. Black Lotus isn't ideal. And then blue, blue, blue. Cool. Well, I'm going to fight this. I imagine the backup blue means we are not resolving this. Oh no, we are. Okay. So it's just Ancestral into stock up then. Snapcaster Ancestral. Okay. That's cool for you. So, not a great start. Very good opener from the opponent. They've got a Bauble as well, just to round things out. They take a cheeky peek at the top of our deck, and then we will see what we come up with. They know our card. They're going to get a 6th card into hand from this Bauble trigger. And that's a Grief. So they know about the Grief. So we do want to play our Bazaar first, but I'm not confident in our Grief resolving. I'm going to play Bazaar and Grief pitching Amalgam. Or Grief pitching Icarid. I think Grief pitching Amalgam's better. So Grief comes in, and then they force it, pitching Misstep. So if I activate here, I'm not going to be on Grief this turn. But I will activate. This will find me a Force of Will. I'm not going to be on Grief next turn either, because I'm going to discard these cards. So that's fine. Grief goes away. I could have activated first and then baited on Hollow One. I wanted access to the second Grief. I appreciate I don't have that now, but we're at least covered against Wasteland. Our opponent has resolved an Ancestral, but they've also used a Lotus and a Force of Will, so it's somewhat not the end of the world. My Bazaar's dead. I'm going to bring back an Icarid and attack. Opponent does not attack, obviously. Icarid eats Grief. We take a draw step, as is our right. And then I think we just attack for 7. they'll make some decisions about blocking and not blocking. And then I think I'm supposed to sorcery speed my activation to play around Bowmaster. I think that's fine. Noxious Icarid. Well, that's less fine because we are pretty light on. Well, we've got no dredges, right? Wasteland again. And this is where no dredges comes back to bite us. So this is my graveyard. I'm just gonna have it like this whilst we're not using it. Icarid's trigger. I'll eat a grief with one and the other one can sit there. There's a dredger. Found it. Perfect. In for 7. And the big issue we've got here is the moment our opponent untaps and plays a frog, we're in a lot of trouble. They can block next turn and still be alive, and then I'll be out of black cards. Delta, nothing. So this can be a Bowmaster that trades off with the Hollow One. If they want to. Does that make me want to not eat my Icarid? Oh, they're going now, post-combat, down to 3. And then they just pass the turn. 2 Icarids trigger. You play a Bowmaster and kill 1. Do I just want to leave my Icarids to relax for a moment and not use up all my food? What does putting them at 1 do? Nothing. Actually, this is lethal, so they've got to have the Bowmaster. So that will mean if I attack with just Hollow One, they just chump block and nothing happens, and they eat it next turn. So it will just make them use it now. Or I could just eat their mana and not go for lethal. They don't have Fatal Push. Or Fatal Push at least doesn't work here. I'm just throwing this creature into this Icarid into a Bowmaster at some point. Just do I want to do that now or later? I don't see the need to do it now, but then if they're bluffing, then they've just killed themselves. But they're a good player, so they probably haven't just killed themselves, you know. I feel like there's a really good argument to not do this and make them wait. Because we could bluff 2 mana every turn for the rest of the game, right? We could just it's like a double wasteland having the Icarid triggers in your upkeep. In for 4, and then these will trade off, and then they get or not. Oh yeah. Then they don't make that play if there's Icarids in the yard, so maybe yeah. I had a feeling that that's what I wanted to do, but I then just didn't do it. Now they've got the Psychic Frog, and Life is Pain. Narcomoeba. So now they have to kill us, but that won't be too difficult. They discard Negation. They discard Negation. They discard City. Hit me for 4. Probably just holding a Force of Will or a Bowmaster or something. Back to me, Icarid does nothing. I feel like that turn where I bought that Icarid back is costing me this game. I mean, the backup Frog probably still means I'm behind. In for 5. I guess 10. Another Frog, which I'll force. Pitching a card. That was probably the wrong card to pitch, but hey ho. It's not a Bazaar, so we need to top deck Bazaar and Hollow One next turn. Yeah, I feel like I punted this game. I feel like that was really winnable, or at least maybe not winnable, but we could at least make their life difficult, you know? But then putting me to 3 makes me feel like I'm obliged. Then putting themselves to 3 makes me feel like I'm obliged to take that line. Like, just make them do it. But that's so bad when you know your opponent knows what they're making you do, if that makes sense. Um, so anyway, 4 negations. Oh, 4 negations. 4 vigors, 4 shoals, maybe a strip mine. We can cut all the blue cards. And we can cut the chalice. And then I like the therapies. I like the griefs. I can't cut dread returns. I only play 2. Maybe I just go to 2 sickening shoals or 3 sickening shoals and no strip mines. Then we die to Tabernacle, but we don't really because we've got Icarids and Narcs, and they can quite quickly become terrors. And 3 sickening shoal because there's been a bit more Yixer Jailer hanging around in these sideboards recently. And I never they're what's this? Lurus. Oh, it's just Lurus. So there's no ley lines. We've got to take a mulligan, and then we've got to take another one. And then we powder. We'll hide troll and dread return. And then we'll keep this. And then we'll just go Bazaar and send it straight away. So let's go Thug, Icarid, Bridge. And then Grief You. And this might just get countered. It does not. So we get a little token as well, which is nice. So Tabernacle, Wasteland, Wasteland, Moxjet, Snuff Out. Snuff Out's weird. Let's just take the Moxjet. And now we've got an actual graveyard. So they don't have a Moxjet. They've got 2 Wastelands and a Tabernacle and then a Snuff Out as well. So they'll go for the Wasteland first of all this turn. And they'll waste me. And then I'll get in for 5. And I'll get a Dredge 4. So Icarid comes back. We'll Dredge 4. We do hit Stinkweed Imp. And then in for 5. Opponents at 15. We get another bridge token, but they're not going to be around much longer. Due to the Tabernacle that will come in this turn. And now Icarid's going to eat an Amalgam. And now Dredge 5. Dredge 5 hits 0 dredges, which is pretty brutal. Thought I was on like an acceptable amount of dredges, but maybe we just completely weren't. They get to play a Delta for the turn. Our guy dies. Icarid eats Grief. We will still deal damage whilst we can. And then we draw. We hit a Dread Return. Which isn't very good. And now our opponent's just got, what, 4 turns to do whatever they want with. Whilst I sit here and slowly die. That hand that they had, though, should be overpowerable. We should be able to beat that, I feel like. Oh, God. They found a frog. Okay. Our Icarid can't come back. Our zombie is dead. That's an Archimevo. They pay 1 for their frog. And we just sit here and wait to draw a Bazaar of Baghdad or die. Which isn't ideal. Not the start we wanted, but Okay, and then Ancestral, yeah. Their hand has developed well. I'll give them that. Now they're just getting rid of a bunch of stuff they don't need in order to end with the frog quickly. They hit me for 5. They've got 5 cards in hand still. They've got an Urza's Saga, so that puts a real clock on us. Icarid triggers, nothing happens. Terror of the Peaks is the draw. And that might just be game, because now they're going to get 2 tokens, have a frog, and... Oh, they might not get 2 tokens, because they'll need to pay upkeep on one of them. So Wasteland. But they'll have... The resolution of the Saga is the bigger problem, you know? Yeah, they're not even going for tokens, look. Elixir Jailer. Okay. Good timing. So let's activate the Bazaar. And then we've got to discard Thug, Imp, Terror. And then I'll let them pay a bunch of mana and Wasteland me. But then I don't have a graveyard anyway because of Urza's Saga. Okay. Let's see what they get with the Saga, and then we can probably just concede because... it's going to be a bit brutal. Yeah. Saga resolves. I guess get a Cage or something. Cage or Crypt or Soul Guide. Yeah. Okay. We're dead. That's fine. That was rough. Pretty comprehensive. Wasteland into Wasteland in the games, and we died. So, missing dredges. But we'll see if we're just not on enough dredges, because we are on less than usual, I think. But I'll see you for game 2. Okie dokie, round 2. Let's see if we can do some better. We're up against Thab G3. Not sure how we're supposed to go about reading that. And we'll be on the play. With a Bazaar on 7. What a great day. So we'll keep this. Well, I mean, last time I had 2 Bazaars on 7 and died, so... That's, not great precedent, is it? Right. Let's get to work. Activate a Bazaar. I wouldn't hate a Grief in this spot. I will go Stinkweed Imp, Shambling Shell, Icarid. Opponent does not have Allurus of the Dream Den. So what does that mean? That means it can be Oath of Druids, which has seen a bit of a tick up recently. That means it could be a mirror match, at which point we've got Bridge from Below. Mono White, at which point I've already activated Bazaar and discarded some cards. So I'm good there. Could just be a big blue Tinker deck. That's a Mox Pearl. That means it's not Dredge. And a Vexing Bauble. So inconclusive, but likely mono white. Wasteland? Urza's Saga. Interesting. Okay. Jewel Shops is another option. If Jewel, it's unlikely that we kill this turn. Seeing as I can't resolve spells. Makes it even harder. Do they have a mana... a Soul Ring or a Mana Vault? No, they've got nothing. Cool. So, Icarid triggers, and we'll just go over the top of Icarid. We don't know how long we're going to have this graveyard for, so let's make it as thick as possible and then empty it out as quickly as possible. I will discard the therapy anyway, just because bridges might pop into play. They really didn't, did they? So we'll eat a Shambling Shell to get one of our Icarids back. We'll dredge a Stinkweed Imp. And there's 2 therapies, but no Bridge from Belows. So just 7 this turn. Then next turn has outs to be good. 2 therapies, 2 Icarids, and the one we've got in play. This is them cycling a Lorien revealed. So not. So I think it's just like a big blue Tinker list then that we're up against. Because that is not Lurus. It's not Jewel Shops if they're getting Underground Sea. It's not Doomsday if they've got Pearl Saga. I mean, our opponent can just die next turn if they don't come up with something, though. So, like, Island Time Walk would be very effective here. Because then they'd have a 4/4 token, some Graveyard Hate. This is a Demonic Tutor for, I presume, Soul Guide. Maybe it's Lurus and they forgot to click on Lurus. Beseech Storm's another option. It's a Soul Guide Lantern, that's fine. How many of those do they play? We still get to dredge on our draw step this turn. Because they're going to play... They're going to eat something. They're going to eat a Stinkweed Imp, sure. And then we just pass priority. And that just forces the issue on Soul Guide Lantern. If they pass back, then... If they pass back, then we get an Icarid into play, which they don't want. We are going to let this go. Because I've already got the dredgers. Now I can activate my Bazaar and maybe even find another Bazaar. Opponent having a moment to themselves. So yeah, so DT, Lorien, Soul Guide in the main. So just like big PO, Tinker PO. Let's discard the 2 dredgers and the serum powder. I'll hold Hogaak in hand. Now they're going to have a 4/4 and then get maybe something else. I get a Narcomoeba. I guess an Amalgam. That was pretty tasty, to be honest. So in for 4, you're at 9. But now they get to resolve the saga and make a token. So that's the token. So 3/3 here. Do they have like a cage or something in their deck in the main? They've already been through a Soul Guide. It's hard to have 2 in the main, I think. We've got a Sensei's top, so yeah, just a Tinker strategy. They discard a Mox Ruby. And then play a tap land. So back to me, and I have got a Shambling Shell for my upkeep effects. I've got 31 cards left in my deck. So we need to come up with a way to kill. Well, we miss initially there. So let's discard Stinkweed Imp, Shambling Shell, Serum Powder. We'll dredge a Stinkweed Imp, get another Narc. And then I guess I just punt away this Narcomoeba to start with. The new Narc. Vexing Bauble happens, but I get 2 zombies for my troubles. Which makes me go a little bit wider before I then send the squad in like this. And then if they trade with Hollow One, I get 2 more zombies. And my board's just, you know, an additional 3 power to what it was prior to that therapy. The downside of this is I've now got no evasion. But then if they try to keep their construct around, then I just get 2 zombies on the house. So I just get the 2 zombies on the house. And then we're not going to cast Hogaak because it can't resolve through the Vexing Bauble. And now if they try to go through a Vexing Bauble, that unlocks my Force of Will. So they found an Academy. I don't feel confident. And then if they've got Tinker for Fatty. Does that do anything? Ancestral Self. They've still got a Vexing Bauble in play. Ancestral for 2 cards because one of them's a Sensei's Top. Sensei's Top is back. That makes this a 4/4, and they've got 4 mana off their Academy. Now they're taking a look with the top to see if anything can save them. And nothing can. So, okay. That's a bit better. These are the cards I'm like interested in. They're going to be the green ones and the blue ones. We can probably just come off the Terror. The Chalice is good. The Griefs are cool. Maybe not on the draw though. If I'm bringing in blue, maybe that's where I have to pick my battle. How many dredges am I on? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is a little bit light, but it's not unusual for me to be on that amount post board. And with no terrors, do I want to play Dread Return? I think I still like 1. Although maybe it's... Oh yeah, because they're actually going to be Tinker for Sphinx, right, post board. So actually Terror of the Peaks just gets better post board if we assume we have access to graveyards. Which is, you know, an assumption. Could be Prized Amalgam goes from here. Chalice on the draw can go. And then we'll do 1 Amalgam. And we need 2 to kill with the bridge. I don't think I can trim any dredges this league. I think I might just cut a Noxious, which kind of isn't great just because that's a green card leaving. But they are quite definitely a combo deck of some variety, or at least have some sort of combo finish. So maximizing our turn 1 interaction is really good. Maybe the therapies are supposed to be griefs, and that Dread Return package is supposed to go. But the Dread Return package gets better in the face of post-board Tinker strategies. Especially, like, because usually you can just go around the Sphinx of the Steel Wind with your Dread Return package, or you can, in this instance, just ignore the combat step, right? With 2 Dread Returns. But there are only 2 Dread Returns, which does somewhat terrify me. And then they can also just have Yixlid Jailer, which I can't beat without force. But they're going to be on Ley Lines and Tabernacles, I think. They're bringing the strip. So that's another slot that's not a given. Like, it could be that keep the Amalgam in, or the Noxious in, and then aim to strip them game 3 if they show us Tab in game 2, and just ignore the existence of Tabernacle until it's proven. Okay, so game 2, we've just got an easy Powder. And then we've got Bazaar, we've got Permission, we've got Vigor, no green. They've got no Ley Line. I've got no Glass of Water to see me through. So, okay, Underground Sea, Mox Emerald, Soul Ring, Time Walk. Okay. So Time Walk resolves. There's an argument to fighting the walk and then hoping to hit green and nuke the 2 before they get to use this mana. Tezzeret doesn't seem great for us. I think I'll fight Tez. And if we lose this fight, then it's hard for them to have like land time vault. Okay. So they time walk into Tez. We'd like a green card. They can have a Bowmaster here, but I don't think that's particularly a big battle in this matchup. I think they've got other things that we're scared of more than Bowmaster. And Bowmaster's good against us in the sort of control matchup when I don't have many resources. Whereas here, I think my bazaar's going to be relatively left unchecked. I'll discard the amalgam. And then do I go after their mana or do I go after their hate pieces later? I think we let this chill for a moment. I don't think they've got Tinker. They've got Delta. Fetch with Delta. 5 mana, Bolas' Citadel. Mana Crypt on the stack, and we'll go after Soul Ring Citadel. They need permission on the top of their deck. So they're dead. Well, the cards, I don't know about them. And we got our graveyard out because things are about to get fun. And we'll activate Upkeep with 2 Stinkweed Imps and a fucking Dream. They could have Ravenous Trap, I guess, but I guess I can play around that by only discarding 1 Stinkweed Imp. Yep. Okay, so they probably don't have a Ravenous Trap. And then draw step, we'll grab another Stinkweed Imp. And then we will Therapy you. And name something irrelevant. Let's just go for... Let's go Vampiric to start with. Just... I don't think their card in hand matters. Opposition Agent. Well, that doesn't do anything. Do I want to take it? Do I want to save a therapy for later? Let's just save a therapy for later, but then they can block me and take my bridges. Okay, let's just take it. Opposition Agent. Surprised at that one's presence. Alright, you'll go. I've got an amalgam and a token. You flip a coin. And lose the flip. So 16, and then we're going to hit them for 8 at least. They've had a new opportunity to draw a card, but I don't think we're too interested in what they can draw at the moment. I think we're far enough ahead. So that's a Narcomoeba. Eat a Shambling Shell. Dredge a Stinkweed Imp. There's a Terror in there. There's a Therapy. There's no Dread Return though. So let's go to combat and then just attack them. And then let's... Is there a therapy or 2 therapies? A therapy. So then let's sacrifice... Is there an amalgam coming in? Possibly, I don't know. Let's just sacrifice a Narcomoeba then. And then come up with a new pointless name. It's not a creature, it's not anything useful. I think this just has to be forcible that they're holding. They would have cast Stock Up, they would have cast Dig Through Time, they would have cast Tinker, DT. They could be holding Mystical Vamp, but I think it's more likely that we're just going to look at a Polluted Delta than anything else. What can make sense? Probe, Misstep. Misstep doesn't make sense. I've got a Therapy on the stack. Let's go for Mystical this time. Misstep, sure. Some things happen, they flip a coin. And then it's going to be tough for them to win from here. We've already seen 1 Tinker target. They could have a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, but I presume I go around that quite comfortably. They do nothing. Are we making me click through this? No, perfect. Okay. So that was just our opponent did 2 things and died, and we had interaction for both. which is how quite a few vintage games will turn out. But no, nice. Let's go to game 3. Okie dokie, round 3 on the play against Sinister 85. Got a nice double powder, all of our permission leaves. Ooh, triple powder. Quadruple powder, but there's a bazaar in this one. So we'll keep this. We've got 32 cards in our deck. That's not very many. What did we lose? We lost Terror, we lost an Icarid, we lost a bridge, 2 bridges. So there's only 1 bridge left. Not an awful lot else. 2 bits of interaction out of 6 or 7. Okay. So our deck's still intact. There's just less cards. Opponent's on 7. We'll go Bazaar. And Powder, Icarid Imp. How to sequence. I think they duel. They duel or bug. Which makes this play either great or awful. Whichever way around you sequence it. They might be thinking, can I beat a Grief? So they let the hollow one through. The Chalice lands. Our exile zone is exiled. Never to be seen again until I have to look at it in a minute. So back to the opponent. They've got no Lurus of the Dream Den. I think they're going to be a dual shops gamer, to be honest. They're just going to concede. Okay. That makes me think they're dual rather than bug, right? So I want these 2. Do we want the Vigors? I presume so. And this can be good. I want like all the interactions. I think I come off of Terror of the Peaks, Dread Return. I think Hogaak is a little bit excess in that situation. And I think in the past I've come off Therapies as well. Dread Return, 1 bridge, something like this. Because in that way, yes, I'm coming off of like my big interaction package through Therapies and bridges and stuff. But I've got more actual kill spells. But Bridge from Below on its own is useless. So what if we get some Therapies back in the mix? Trim and Noxious, which I don't like. Trim and Amalgam. And I've got the Therapies, 2 bridges to complement the Therapies off the Narcs or something. This is very discard heavy. Or we could drop this, grab this guy back. And then this is very permission and discard heavy. This is not too dissimilar actually to what I played last year at Eternal Weekend. Just two or three naked bridges with a couple of therapies to chill out. I think I'm going to submit this. And we have to beat the One Ring somehow. There goes 1 Vigor and a Troll. Powder again. Triple Interaction and a Bazaar of Baghdad. Gaming. So opponent mulligans to 5 to find what they're looking for. This is Ancient Tomb, Pithing Needle. I can misstep the needle and beat the Force follow-up. Manifold Key I think I let go. I'm going to get to strip their hand in a second with Grief anyway. So Shambling Shell, which is a nice draw. Let's activate, see if we can get this bridge into the bin. We can. So bridge, Stinkweed Imp, Narcomoeba. Grief you. Take your time, Vault. Okay. That should be fine. I've got a Force of Will behind. I can slow dredge this Stinkweed Imp and then activate a Bazaar. And then at some point I'll make come up with an idea of when we push. Well, maybe we push now. But I think I'm happy just slow dredging. So Narcomoeba triggers. Play a Bazaar of Baghdad and attack for 2. They've got a PO which they can PO for 1. This guy comes into play. Okay, and they can't do anything. They can't PO. And they just concede, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm supposed to just like discard my hand in the last turn, but this just felt so safe. So yeah, cool. Round 4. Okay, in round 4, up against BPK, who's up early. And our hand's great, which has been a bit of a theme. They've got a Lurus. We'll keep this hand. Meow. And then we'll see how we get on. We've got no interaction. For a player who's never got less than 3 bits of power in their opener can be tough. They mulligan to 6. And this gives them a Delta. And a Jet. They fetch immediately. For a Tundra. And Tundra finds some Dauntless Dismantler. Which I've never cared less about. I am going to have a tapped hollow one. It may be a countered hollow one, who knows. But activate the Bazaar. Noxious is cool. So we'll go Icarid, Stinkweed, Stinkweed. And we'll cast Hollow One. Hollow One is tapped, I agree. And now opponent gets a turn 2. I think they've been on this sort of list for a while now. Oh, Lotus. That's terrifying. So this can be Lotus Lurus, which will have to go around, and Academy as well. So they can buy Lurus, play Lurus. They've made a land drop. Do we want to top a Lotus? I don't think so. They get Lotus back. Triple blue. Time Walk. I have regrets. Okay. So back to them. And they've only got 2 cards in hand, but they do have essentially infinite mana. Lotus comes in. They attack for 4? Just for 3. Okay, yeah, because they want infinite blockers in a moment. And we will activate Upkeep in response to our Icarid. Now that we've got a turn. So, Stinkweed Imp, Stinkweed Imp. That's a Narcomoeba. Let's discard Dread Return, Stinkweed Imp, Stinkweed Imp. Say yes to Narcs. We get an Amalgam. Icarid is going to eat something. I don't know what. Maybe an Icarid. I'm kind of interested in this grief, though. That's the thing. I'm going to eat a Stinkweed Imp. Prized Amalgam happens. Draw step will dredge another stink. I will dredge a grave troll. Now I've got a therapy and 2 dread returns. So let's not go to combat. Let's therapy you. Have I got I've got 1 bridge. Therapy you off of a Narcomoeba. And we'll just aim to take Force of Will, I think. I don't know what's in a current BPK deck they can't cast for 37 mana. This gets flustered. That's fine, I've got a token. Okay. I get a bridge token. Got 2 dread returns. I think I'm just going to attack now. Opponent will probably block my Hollow One, which I think is fine. Do I want to top this? I think so. Maybe this is really punty, but they don't have Wasteland at the moment. We'd know about it. And now I get an unknown number of amalgams. 2. Oh, 1 now, 1 later in installments. Now they can replay the Dauntless Dismantler. But there's triple Icarid. They probe me. And then the Dread Return looks pretty terrifying. If I hadn't... that Noxious might have been questionable. That Noxious might have been questionable, but... So they've only got 2 cards to work with here. And if one of them's not Wasteland, then they can get their Dauntless Dismantler back. Right? If one of them is Wasteland, they can still get the Dauntless Dismantler back. Okay, so 5 mana. Or billion mana, sorry. What is this? Is this a PO of some variety? PO for 3, okay. 2 white mana left floating. This gives them a Delta Lotus, whatever mocks they had, plus Lurus. They get Meticulous Archive, they're scrying, which I'm really into. They discard a Mox Opal, they play a Jet. Maybe that was the Mox they had last time. They play a Lotus. They can cast Lurus, Crack Lotus, make Dismantler, but they'll still have 3 other cards in hand. Lurus is in. Cracks Lotus for white. Redeploys the Dismantler. And it's done. I get another Amalgam. Triple Icarid trigger. Stretch Stinkweed Imp. And Stinkweed Imp. Discarding the 3 big ones. Icarid eats Grief. Icarid eats Stinkweed Imp. Icarid eats Stinkweed Imp. Dredge a Grave Troll. Get a Narc Amoeba. And then we can therapy you off of this Narc. We've only got one bridge. They misstep me. I get a token. So then I can dread return Terror of the Peaks off of token Icarid. And they concede. Perfect. Okay, so against white, I'm going to want the 4 Sickening Shoals. I'm going to drop the blue completely. Because our opponent is one of those old school players who's going to come with 87 cards for Dredge. And like 2 for shops and a Pyroblast or something like that. That's going to be their sideboard. So, let's trim. I don't know. I don't want to trim the Gak. I want to trim the Terror, and I want to trim 1 Dread Return. So I can still Dread Return a Grief, Dread Return a Grave Troll, that sort of thing. But just frees up a bit of space. Well, there go the Amalgams. We take the Powder. And we keep the no interaction 7-carder. Opponent is on the play. I didn't want chat, I wanted game log. Opponent's mulligan to 6 so far. And they just put 1 on the bottom, so they've got 6 in hand. And you're up. Mox Ruby. Sensei's top. And then a land of some variety. No, okay. Another piece of power. Flooded Strand. Okay, cool. So this can be a Containment Priest. Let's activate the Bazaar. Let's go Grave Troll, Icarid. And then pass back to the opponent. And then they'll look and then fetch if there's nothing exciting for them. Our Noxious loses power in the face of Sensei's top, but we are still protected against their wastelands if they play them, which I presume they do. But what they're usually on is like best of white 2-drops from the last 4 years. Intuition for Vault Key. That's kind of roughly what I assume they're playing. Or like Intuition for Vault Key, Savine's Reclamation is the 3rd. I think that's what they're usually on. Sorry, I shouldn't shuffle cards when people are listening. Okay, I pass to you. They've had a little look with their top. They love what they see, so they're going to take that top one before they activate Flooded Strand. And we've got Float a Red, play a Delta, aim to eat something. I'm going to Noxious Am I going to Noxious Revival? Yes, I am, because I want to eat the Lantern. I've played a land drop already. Okay, so let me have that. So we'll get our guy back. And then this Ichrid will trigger. And then we'll activate Bazaar. And we'll discard Shell, Thug Therapy. Take a draw. Bring back a Thug. Hit a bridge from below. Go to combat. Attack you for 3. And then we'll just try and get the therapy out. I don't know what they can have. They've given me the token though. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I don't know what they can have here. Just a Force of Will. Containment Priest, Soul Guide, Manifold Key, Time Vault. One, two, three, four, 5. What do we want to name? I didn't think about this point of the turn. I just thought about all the points that I was going to offer them up my graveyard. I guess Soul Ring's like the actual worst for us. So let's name that. But they can't have a Soul Ring, right? They would have dumped the Soul Ring and bought Lurus. They've got 3 mana open. And they didn't buy Lurus. But that's mainly because they want to... That's mainly because they want to keep their Deltas and Flutterstrands unfetched for their top, though, rather than the purchase of Lurus. But Soul Ring and Mana Crypt would still allow you to do that. Maybe not by buying Lurus, but by having mana in place. They can't have a mana rock, which means I think they're just gonna be on Fluster or Force of Will. I don't think Fluster would stay in. I think Force of Will could stay in. Let's just name Force of Will then. Like, I don't have much to go off of. If they've got a Soul Ring, I'll be impressed. It's a Savine's Reclamation. Okay. Okay. So then they get my yard at this turn, and then they get my yard next turn. Interesting. And I have a 2/2. I've got a Tundra. So they can nuke the yard and then play Savine's Wreck to bring this back without fetching. Yeah. And they Savine's Wreck this. Okay. And then they exile their Savine's Reclamation. I think it's too late for that, right? We've already targeted. Yeah. So there goes a nice portion of their game plan with the Savine's Reclamation. So they're going to try and get my graveyard this turn and next turn. They take another look with top. They are approaching Lurus, at which point the Soul Guide's then unbounded. Okay. I'm just going to take a draw. Sickening Shoal is a fantastic draw to get, as is Bridge. So let's just go Grave Troll, Narc, Narc. And then combat you for 2. And then we've just got black cards in our hand. But we offer up the best Dredger and not a lot else. Opponent buys Lurrus, plays Lurrus. Nukes my Grave Troll. That's a Lotus, okay. So Lurrus gets bought. Lurrus gets played. Soul Guide goes off. Lurrus dies. This will leave me with a Stinkweed Imp and a Thug. Okay, cool. And a Graveyard to work with. So there was that slight misstep in the Savine's Wreck stuff. I don't know what to keep here. I think I'll just get rid of the Vigor. I don't think the Vigor's doing much for us. Yeah, get rid of the Vigor, get back the Stinkweed Imp. Got an Icarid. And now it's just going to be nickels and dimes. Saying that, though, I have got a Bizarre Baghdad in my graveyard, so maybe I can just pick up Icarid. Alright, let's get through this turn first from them and see how we use our cards. Opponent's going to look with top. They've got the Flooded Strand. This has been a great game. So I don't know how many Soul Guides that was that we had to battle through for this one. I'm not saying it's over. They can very easily just be like floating the kill. They're just trying to neutralize me completely first. They've got another Soul Guide Lantern. I see. I see. You've only got 1 hit on this. So I can probably force the Soul Guide. As they go for my Icarid. That's fine. You can go for my Icarid. That's fine. And then they look with top. They flip top. Okay. For a Tabernacle at Pendule Vale. Okay, so they've got other plans. My strip's already gone, I think. Yeah. Icarid. Oh, I'm dead. I've been fighting a completely different battle to what I thought I was fighting. Nicely played. I've got no way of killing now, have I? No, this is here. That was cool. But yeah, no, I'm just hard locked against that, right? Because I don't have another strip mine in my deck. I can't ever get haste. No, that was really well played. Cool, right. On to the next one, so I can't actually deal them any damage now. That was cool. I do give up that I've not got a second Wasteland, but... So do I want these 2 back in on the play? In light of how they've just shown us an approach for the game. Did Vigor do anything in that game? So if we come off Vigors, redeploy Chalice, and just come off of the Gak, and maybe I can get some Force of Wills in here. No, maybe Gak and a... Maybe 2 Vigors is fine. Maybe Gak over Sickening Shoal. Because they showed us... They didn't show us a priest. I can't expect a priest. But then I just re-bring in my kill through Tabernacle, right? I just have to react to the way they approached that game, which is exile the Icarids and deploy a tab. This is a lot of griefs. So we'll keep this. We'll bottom powder. We'll play Bazaar. I think I just spin it. Just in case I find something I'm happy to discard. This one. This one. This one. There's no dredges there. So there's grief pitching grief. I expect it to get forced. No, it gets through. Okay. They might not have force of will in against me. Days, PO, Lantern Trainer. Okay. So we'll take your Lantern. Days, PO, Lantern Trainer. Lantern's gone. I can chill for a second. No, because then I won't be resolving any more spells. So let's just get in there and take that trainer out. That's then their card draw and selection gone. They're sat holding a daze now. And I just need to hit a dredger and push through before they find another lantern. They've got a Lurus. Oh, don't keep on top, bro. Oh, they've drawn a Lotus. It's kind of fucked up. Let's just flip with Bazaar. Hit a dredger. Dredge 3. And now I've got a game plan from next turn, but they've kept on top and top decked a Lotus. Mox Pearl was the keep on top, so that gives them a PO for 2. Or it just gives them Lurus Soul Guide. Oh my god. How do they draw so well? Never mind. So we've got to take draw steps to find one of our 2 remaining Sickening Shoals. Oh, they've got Days in hand. Okay. They're going to beat us in a very long game of attacking for 3 and looping Soul Guide every turn. That was pretty messed up. But hey ho. So it goes. Let's go to our final round of the game. Of the league, sorry. Okay, 5th and final round. We're against Dr. John Osterman. We are on the play. And then we're immediately given that difficult decision of, do I want to pitch my Dread Return to Grief? Not really. Not really, if I'm honest. It's interesting because this is a list that's been doing well, and it's a really tight list as well. So I can't actually force. So I might just get rid of Shell, Powder, Force, and then hit them with a Noxious then Grief. Okay. No plays on the other side of the table. I have to grief. Like it's unacceptable not to. Opponent concedes. No Lurus. I presume some form of combo, some form of duel. So I'm gonna do these 2 at least. I'm tempted just to try just with those 2. But they could have. This is a thing, right? I think they're dual, but if there's something else, they could have the ley lines. There's no point just conceding game 2. I'm gonna come off a number of griefs. If they're dual, I want the Terror of the Peaks for the worm coils. That's not what I did last time though against dual, is it? Never mind. Fucking around with the bit of the sideboard plans here. Now what? So 3 cards to go. Chalice on the draw can probably go. I'm gonna trim an Amalgam, so I'm bringing in 2 blue cards, and then maybe that's just final grief. And we'll just keep the stack-based interaction plus the therapies and the kill that doesn't mean I have to go around a worm coil engine. The issue with it is it means I have to go through a One Ring. That's the issue with the kill in this deck. We drop Gak. Maybe Gak was a cut over Amalgam or something, but I think they usually duel. This is going to be a nice powder. Zoop. And another one. And a keep with negation, nut dredger, 2 hollow ones. So, okay. Ah, mono white. Ah, another Chrome Mox. This is Ancient Tomb Peacekeeper, then we're in trouble. It's Cavern of Souls, Containment Priest. Interesting. Interesting. So, I've got 2 hollow ones. Let's just put the creatures in the graveyard. And then cast a hollow one. This will outgrow a Containment Priest. If they've got the tab behind, then we're in trouble. That's the priest that can't be countered. I bought in 0 Sickening Shoals, is that right? Because I thought they were combo. I didn't consider mono white. That's a Caracas. An Anointed Peacekeeper. Okay then. That's pretty good. So they name Bazaar. Icarid can't come in. We can probably just take draw steps, right? Or do we want to dredge? I can still cast spells from the bin. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like that Hogaak. I can still cast that. If it wasn't cast. In we go. 8 to the dome. And they're just in the Tabernacle waiting room. It's a Cavern of Souls. Naming Cleric. Is this just an orc? No. In for 3. Icarid's trigger. So what are they holding then? Knock Amoeba. Nope. What can they be holding? It's not a Seasoned Dungeoneer. It could just be a Solitude. It's not a Plow. Cleric doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, you'll go. You have to start chump blocking in a minute. And the double hollow one just makes things crumble around them. So that was a cool league. Game 1 we got completely ruined. And then we had some like cruise control matches for a moment. We never did the Terror of the Peaks thing, although we were about to against BPK in the game that we won. And then game 3, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I got robbed a little bit with Blind Draw of a Lotus, Surveil into Pearl. I feel like I got slightly robbed, but so we were in a very good position to win that game in a lot of circumstances, right? But never mind, it doesn't massively matter. It's just a league, but it's still, I don't know. It's one of those ones where we've played one match. Sometimes that end of the spectrum is going to happen. Sometimes the more likely thing is going to happen where they draw a ponder or whatever, they find nothing, they die. It is an interesting list. It's been picking up in popularity. It's been putting up a few results. It's quite tight. I don't think I had enough dredgers, but maybe that's just the cost you have to pay. I feel like I'd rather, and I'll play it soon, but I feel like I'd rather just be on no blue if I'm doing all of this. That might be too insane though. Because like the Gak's cool, but can we just put Gak in a normal list? And then but not really because my 3/3s are attacking. I don't hate it. I do hate 2 Dredge returns though, good grief. I don't like that at all. But no, it's interesting. We did fine. I think a 4-1 in that league would have been perfectly acceptable. I think the way it played out is how sometimes your vintage games are going to play out. Um, no harm, no foul. Round 1, I had that Icarid turn where I think I fucked it up, but because if I don't bring the Icarids back, I'm not presenting the lethal. If I do bring the Icarids back, then I'm playing into what they've presented as their plan. I think they played it a bit too face up. Like I think if you don't fetch there, I'm not sure what the reason to fetch is. Oh, creeping chill. No, that doesn't make any sense either. 'Cause that just kills you. But I think you don't fetch there, and then I'm just 100% going to run into the plan you're looking for, right? But the fact you put me to 3 makes me very suspicious of the fact that you just put yourself to 3 in the face of an Icarid. Whereas if you're at 4 and you're like, hey, look, you can stone rain me with an attack with an Icarid, that's quite cool as the Dredge pilot. But then it's stupid that I then ran headfirst into it, whereas I could have just left the Icarids behind, not presented lethal, and then taxed that 2 mana that turn. Sure, they might just do it next turn, but if they do it end step, and then the next turn I bring the Icarid back, and they don't have the Bowmaster because they played it on my end step, then they're unable to do the kill your Icarid, quadruple block your guy, you've got no threats. Sure, they might play a frog and I'll die anyway, but I don't know. I think we just needed to not. I think we needed to do the thing where we go, this is the situation, my opponent's a thinking player. I have to respect that they're a thinking player. Whereas what I did was just assumed that the person on the other side of my screen is a bot and played poorly and lose because of it. Whereas I could have, at least for a while, maybe held out hope, got myself another draw step, found something different to do, taxed their mana, made their life more awkward than just running into their face up plan. I think if they don't fetch, I run into that plan every day and accept it. I think with them fetching, I think you've got to go, there's something suspicious here. Anyway, that was a long ramble about something that happened an hour and a half ago. Anyway, this was Dredge with Terror of the Peaks. 2 Dredge returns makes me suspicious. I think I want more Dredgers. Noxious has been a problem and cause for concern in this list when you're reintroducing the blue cards. But in all, fun league. I got to play Dredge, which is not something I do very often. We've done some rambling. Good luck, have fun out there, and I'll see you soon.